Every year, millions of people line up outside glowing white stores, waiting for a new iPhone that looks almost identical to the last one. They cheer, they cry, they film themselves unboxing it like it's sacred. Apple isn't just a company, it's a global ritual. But how did a struggling computer brand turn into a trillion-dollar cult? And what's the dark psychology behind its perfect, addictive design? This is the untold story, the dark truth behind Apple. It all started in 1976, in a small garage in Los Altos, California. Two young men, Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, were building computers by hand, soldering wires and dreaming big. Wozniak was the genius engineer. Jobs was the visionary, the salesman, the dreamer. Their goal wasn't to make money, it was to change the world. They believed computers shouldn't be machines for scientists. They should be personal. But here's the thing. Jobs didn't just want to sell computers. He wanted to sell a feeling, power, control, creativity. That was the seed of Apple's psychological empire. When Apple launched the Macintosh in 1984, they didn't advertise specs or features. They released one of the most famous ads in history, a cinematic masterpiece directed by Ridley Scott. It showed a dystopian world ruled by conformity, until a young woman shattered it with a hammer. The message was clear. Apple is not a product. Apple is rebellion. It was genius. In 1 minute, Apple transformed itself from a tech company into a cultural movement. From that day, Apple wasn't selling computers. It was selling identity. But behind the shiny image, things were falling apart. In 1985, Steve Jobs was fired from his own company. He spent years in exile, creating new ventures like Next and Pixar. Meanwhile, Apple was collapsing. Lost leadership, bad products, chaos. By the mid-90s, it was on the brink of bankruptcy. Then, in 1997, Jobs returned. He cut most of Apple's products, refocused on simplicity, and made one promise to his team. We're going to make products that people love. He wasn't just rebuilding Apple, he was reprogramming it. When the iPod launched in 2001, it wasn't just a music player, it was a symbol. White earphones, minimal design, a lifestyle accessory that said, "I'm different." Then came the iPhone in 2007, the moment everything changed. The iPhone wasn't just a phone, it was a digital extension of the human self. Apple's design philosophy was simple. Don't make users think, make them feel. They built technology that merged seamlessly with emotion, until using it felt like instinct. Here's the dark truth. Apple doesn't just sell technology. It sells addiction disguised as beauty. Every curve, every vibration, every sound is designed to trigger dopamine. The smooth unlock animation, the ding of a notification, the glow of the screen. It all activates reward centers in your brain. The color, white and silver, they represent purity, calmness, and perfection, making you trust the brand unconsciously. Apple doesn't say, "Buy our product." It whispers, "You'll be smarter, more creative, more human with it." That's psychological manipulation, wrapped in glass and aluminum. Apple's marketing is one of the most powerful systems ever built. They don't compete, they control the narrative. While other brands shout features, Apple speaks in emotions. Think different. Shot on iPhone. Designed for humans. Every Apple ad is slow, minimal, and hypnotic, like a digital lullaby. And the key? Scarcity. They intentionally limit supply, create waiting lines, and make people earn the right to buy. That's not bad logistics. That's behavioral science. But behind the spotless glass walls and minimal design lies a darker side. Apple has been accused of exploiting factory workers in China, employees working long hours for minimal pay, producing devices worth hundreds of billions. There's also the planned obsolescence, the quiet shortening of device lifespan. Older iPhones mysteriously slow down after software updates, subtly pushing you to buy the next model. And then there's the ecosystem trap. Once you buy one Apple product, every next purchase, iPad, MacBook, AirPods, feels necessary. They've created a digital cage, disguised as luxury. Today, Apple isn't just a brand, it's a belief system. People don't just buy iPhones, they defend them. They stand in lines for hours. They cry when they unbox them. They treat Apple events like religious ceremonies. Every keynote by Steve Jobs, and now by Tim Cook, is like a sermon. The crowd gasps, claps, cheers. It's worship, rebranded as innovation. And Apple knows it. They don't build technology for function. They build it for faith. Apple is now worth over $3 trillion. It's bigger than most countries' economies. And it's not just because of great design. It's because they mastered human psychology, turning emotion into economics. They made technology feel personal, and then used that connection to build one of the most profitable empires in human history. So next time you unlock your iPhone, think about this. You're holding a mirror, not just to your face, but to the human condition itself. A device built on creativity, addiction, and control. A brand that turned minimalism into manipulation. Apple didn't just change technology, it changed us. That is the dark truth behind Apple.
Infonistic, where intelligence meets imagination.